the fundraise options, right? And to start with, I think let's first get our basics right. Why do we need funds? I see three reasons. Either I need funds for transforming any of my business idea into a reality, so I need initial capital, or I need funds to run my business as a going concern, or I need to expand my business either organically or inorganically. I think most of us are pretty well aware about growing businesses organically, but I think the way to achieve faster growth is there has to be a mix of an organic and inorganic growth that has to be in place. While I think for organic growth, the funding or the credit part of it is pretty well established, the system works well. For inorganic, I think there has to be a lot of other funding and the way to approach those has to be in place. So while we need funds for these three purposes, I think there is a particular level up to which a promoter or a sponsor can fund the business. So it's a fact that we need external funds to grow our business, right? Now, what are the sources of funds? So I'll just quickly run through some of these because I want to focus more on the equity, and I would be happy for you to ask me questions more on the equity part of it. So, what could be the sources of fund? Broadly, three: debt, equity, and internal accruals. Depending on which source of debt you need to tap, there are broadly four factors. Time period, in terms of whether you need a short-term funding or a long-term or a medium-term funding. In terms of ownership, that decides whether you have to go for a debt or for equity. In terms of origin, internal or external. Internal, external meaning internal is only the internal accruals. External means you need to tap a bank or an investor to get that funding. Now within debt, there could be a secured debt or an unsecured debt, right? So while the internal accruals is something which is in our control, the external funding has to be clearly thought through. Basis I don't intend to go through the whole thing. But one other I want to highlight out of this because equity is all about ownership. When you are raising fund, you are actually sharing ownership with the third party investor. Whereas for a debt, which I think